Yeah, build me up. Buttercup is back, y'all. Had a little hiatus there, but Scary Alvarez welcomes you. Really appreciate having you. I've been had kind of a flurry of activity recently on this family program, talking about the downturn in the Wisconsin football stuff. Hasn't been fun, but still have some thoughts I want to keep going on this one with. And thanks for tuning in. I always appreciate it. Hit that like and subscribe button. As you know, it is always a competition between me and PJ Fleck. This week, he did nude hang gliding. I thought that was an odd turn, but the people just love it up there in the land of 10,000 lakes. Let's put them out of business and put old Scary Alvarez up on the mantle. So today's topic is a little bit of a tricky one in a number of ways. I want to preface this by giving you my position on this individual. I think my name, Scary Alvarez, is a little bit of a tell for the type of reverence I have for Barry Alvarez. It's not because he's provided a fun moniker for my Twitter and podcasting efforts or anything that facile. It's something from when I was there at school in Madison on forward. I've always had a tremendous amount of respect, not just because his accomplishments have provided me with great joy, both back in college and since then. I mean, that's normal dopamine stuff. But I always say I like the cut of the person's jib. I like the cut of this guy's jib. I mean, he's a human being. It's not perfect. No one would say that, but I like the way he's done things, with pretty rare exception. And I've been proud to call him our athletic director, coach, and more recently, observer from the sidelines. So it was a little jarring, I will admit. We heard a little bit of. I felt it was a odd tirade against Wisconsin fans for booing and kind of from Alvarez and kind of having a little bit of a kind of a you're in timeout now kind of mode on a fan base that, in my opinion, I've made no bones about this, especially recently, is justifiably angry about the product that is on the field and the people who are overseeing this program. Okay. And the stuff about Fire Fickle and things like that, we can have a discussion another day. I want to focus in on one kind of more broad fan behavior and whether I think it's okay. And that's booing. If you were at or watching the Maryland game, a 27-10 debacle that was not as close as the final score indicates, in the, at least if you believe the pundits, the most winnable game for Wisconsin on the Big Ten slate. It gets more depressing every time I think about it. There were a hefty gaggle of boos in that stadium. And that's from the fans who had not left already or had decided to show up with tickets that they had. Several didn't. Those attendance, I think 62,000 is what they ended up saying. No way in hell. That Camp Randall had 62,000 people at any time on Saturday. It's just, this is rough. So putting aside for a moment what you think the trajectory of this program is going to look like, because it isn't super relevant to most of this, I'm just going to go back to the moment on Saturday afternoon, 1 o'clock or so, where Wisconsin fans, and I'm not talking about 3 or 4 malcontents, because those exist everywhere in every fan base. I'm talking about there was a kind of mild tidal wave of booing in that game at various points. Certainly at halftime. And by the end it was a little more muted, I think. So Barry goes on his show, and he seems to have walked it back a little bit since then. But the upshot of this was basically you can't boo, you're spoiled, and I'm taking on the issue right now. Is it okay to boo at a Wisconsin football game? I will first begin with my own feelings. I've been to a lot of Wisconsin football games. I don't recall ever booing. And this is not a holier than thou, I'm above it all. I wouldn't boo. Because there have been times where you can tell by reading my stuff, whether it's on social media or you see it I am not above criticizing the program, those who run it, the way they play on the field. So this is not some high standard. This is just my own general, when I'm looking back and thinking, do I boo? Not my thing, at least in the moment at the game. Okay, I just want to get that out there. But that is not in any way reflective on whether I think other people should be allowed to, or whether it's right, whether they do it or not. My position is this. If you have taken the time to pay for a ticket, and these are not cheap, kids, and to haul yourself down there, maybe you park, that ain't cheap either. Not sure what the going rate is by Camp Randall now, but it's not cheap. And you're buying the food and drink. It's not cheap. Maybe you throw a couple souvenirs in your bag. Not cheap. You are putting a lot of money into that experience. And that's not even the most important part. You're putting your time and your effort and your heart into being a Badger fan. So if someone spends $300 on a Saturday afternoon to go down to Camp Randall Stadium, take 4 hours to watch their favorite football team, and they see an effort against one of the probably not elite teams in the Big Ten that is probably charitably described as embarrassing. And that fan wants to voice their displeasure to this athletic department, to this coaching staff, and even the players, although, I sort of defend the players because I think they are a victim of all this. That fan has every right to do so. Let me repeat it for those in the back of the room. They didn't hear me. If you want to boo your team after putting that kind of time and financial investment into that afternoon, you can do it. You have earned the right to do it. I'm taking the right or wrong out of it. It's not for me to say. And with all due respect to Coach, and there's a hell of a lot of respect. And I get the passion, and I get the being defensive of your program, but it's not his call either. And I do not believe that someone should feel ashamed if they booed in that game. That's a personal choice. Not everything in the world is a personal choice that I get to respect, but this particular thing, in this particular moment, with this particular program, I get it, kids. I get it. You lay out $300 in 4 hours, and you want to voice your displeasure with the product that you have seen, just like any product. Someone builds your roof, pay a lot of money. They do a crappy job on it. You can get mad about it. You can let them know that you don't feel good about what they have done and how they have done it. So I want to be clear here. This is not about saying that someone shouldn't be able to boo. I think I already said this. If you don't want to boo, that's great. But looping back, trying to shame someone or intimate that they are any less of a fan because they boo in that game, it doesn't hold water with me in this moment. I'm very, I'm sorry I have to say it, but I got to be real. And as smart, as knowledgeable, as passionate as Coach is, I have to believe, if I know him the way I think I do, that as he has thought about those words that he said a few days ago, he probably feels at least a twinge of regret for the way the message was portrayed. I think the message he was trying to put forward is support your team. These kids work hard. And he probably remembers in 1990 and into 91, the small crowds and the booing and really the joke a lot of those games were. Obviously, in 92, we beat a ranked Ohio State team early in the season, and there was clearly a new era. But that 1990 season, with one win and crowds that make Maryland's crowd look like it's a jam-packed Coliseum in Rome, that has to linger in the back of someone's memory. And it could be as simple as that. He's remembering how bad things were before he, not single-handedly, but he was the maestro for turning this program around and making it what it is, what it turned into. And so, again, I do have some sympathy for the position when you put so much of yourself into this program. And, not to be cynical, but you hired Chris McIntosh, who hired Luke Fickell. There's a direct line to Alvarez in this coaching thing. So there's a lot of pride bound up in this. But I'm gonna give him a pass on this to the extent that he's earned the right for a misstep like this. Hopefully there's been some thought, and this will not be the position he continues to take. I know why he's defending his program. It comes from a place of passion, not pettiness. So I see all sides of this, but more broadly, without making this all about Barry, which is not. For the record, and just so there's no equivocation here, if you want to boo this team for their play on the field in a game that you paid good money for and invested your effort and your passion and time, that is your right to do so. And I will never deign to say that it is not. I'm not bullish about the rest of this season. I think I've made that pretty clear. But I will keep hoping upon hope that the boos will be fewer and far between in the games at Camp Randall, that we can give these teams good games, that the talent, and there is a very solid amount of talent on this team, can come together in that locker room and win some games and show some passion and really shut the boo birds up. I mean, that's what you want to do if you're a member of this team and coaching staff. It's in the team's hands. You can take that boo right out of the person's mouth. Slap that boo out the mouth. That wasn't my best work. Anyway, here's the better days, kids. I keep saying this, but if you feel like you got a boo, Scary's not going to give you a hard time for it. Scary Alvarez out.